welcome back to the Mindset Club project. I'm out here on a pretty windy and rainy day today. What we're going to talk about today is actually another one of my absolute favorite tools. You heard me say that in self-talk if you've already listened to that video. But this one that we're going to be talking about today is another one of my favorites, and it's routines. Keep in mind that when we're talking about routines today and the framework that I have, it's just that, it's a framework. This doesn't have to be the exact way that you set your own routine. My routine is going to be completely different than somebody else's. It's also important to understand that we all have different routines for different shots. For instance, my driver routine is different than the routine that I go through when I'm in the bunker. So here today, I have a 6-step routine that I use, that I go through, and that helps me get in the right zone and helps me focus on the present moment. So step 1 is a trigger. You need to have a trigger to start that pre-shot routine. To start my pre-shot routine, my trigger is taking my golf bag off of my shoulders and setting it on the ground. I know that when my bag hits the ground, that's what gets me going. So whatever it might be for you, go ahead and write it down. Figure out what that trigger is going to be. Step number 2 is the environment. Surveying everything that's going on around you. So figuring out the distance, if you have a scope, figuring out the wind speed, figuring out the location of the pin, figuring out if the ball is above or below your feet. So looking at the entire environment to see everything that might be affecting your shot. Step number 3 is the club. You need to figure out which club that you're gonna have in your hand. And this can be done right after step 2 because you've already looked at the distance. You know which club you need to hit at this point. Step number 4 is the target. Figure out what your target is going to be. Dr. Bob Rotella, who's one of the most prominent golf sports psychologists, says that if we just focus on the target, we'll play darn good golf. One thing that is super important with picking your target is you want to pick something really small. Maybe it's just a tree branch that you might aim for off the tee. Maybe it's a certain section of the green that you're going to be hitting to. Picking that target as small as possible is going to be a great help. This could also be where you use that 1 foot forward tool that we talked about in this module as well. Step number 5 is the practice swings. These practice swings are to be intentional. This is where you want to use some imagery. And if you don't know anything about imagery, go check out the next module that I have on imagery. Feeling yourself perform the shot as well as seeing it is also vital. Step number 6 is trusting it and stepping up to your shot. If you're not quite sure how to trust or how to step up to your shot, go check out the video that I have in Confidence on Step Up. It's also important to maybe use your self-talk or a cue word to help yourself trust and go forward. There was a research study done by Cohn in 1991 where he said that using pre-shot routines actually helps you increase your focus, it increases your confidence, and it helps you get into the present moment. Who doesn't want to be there? Let's go ahead and recap those 6 steps that we talked about today for setting up your own pre-shot routine. And I really hope you guys are writing these down to really figure out and see it in front of you what your routine might look like. Number 1 is trigger. Number 2 is the environment. Number 3 is the club. Number 4 is your target. Number 5 is practice swings. Number 6 is stepping up and trusting it. With that, seriously, thank you for being here. I really hope you wrote it down to figure out what your routine is going to look like. So I hope you take it to the golf course and develop your mental edge.